If you're reading this now, odds are I've already left town.
This story is all about courage, curiosity, and appreciating what's real. And that's it. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wit and Ink. Our transportation today is going to be through a door that leads us into a colorful world that, if you ask me personally, I would not like to visit just because of all the creepy spookiness that goes on there. It was really fun to read about, but actually visiting that place, I will not be going to it. And that is to the world of Coraline, written by Neil Gaiman. Insert the book here. Yeah, but I've started doing this thing where when I don't have the physical books, I go to the library and I collect the books from there and I read them and then take them back. So the book is currently at the library, but this, as I said, is the copy that I would have read. This book is a personal favorite of mine because even though it was really unsettling, I think that's what added character to the book. It teaches us lots of great lessons. And it was overall a really good storyline. So if you want to learn about why you should keep reading this book, keep watching. This is where I remind you guys that this video is totally my opinion of the book. If you have a different opinion about this book, that's fine. Everyone has their own reading experience. This is just my reading experience. And you can feel free to share your experience in the comments. As I said, it's just my personal opinion. If you don't agree with it, that's also okay. We can agree to disagree. This is editing Raya here. Can we all just take a moment to appreciate that this shirt was not planned, but somehow it gives Coraline? I don't know if anyone else picked up on that, but I just did, and somehow I'm quite satisfied with it. Coraline follows the story of a young girl called Coraline Jones who moves into a new apartment with her parents. Curious and a bit restless, she spends her days exploring the grounds and her surroundings until she discovers a small locked door in her home. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but if I saw a small door that wasn't there before, I would be moving out. I would not be exploring it, I would not be opening it. I would just be moving to another neighborhood. One day, she finds that the door opens into a mysterious parallel world and somehow was not confused about it. One that looks exactly like her own, but seems more exciting and perfect. Red flag number one. Her other mother and her other father are attentive, cheerful, and eager to please. But as Coraline spends more time there, she realizes that the world hides something sinister beneath its charm. To find her way back and protect the people that she loves, Coraline must rely on her bravery, her cleverness, and her sense of self in ways that she has never imagined. This story is all about courage, curiosity, and appreciating what's real. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about some things that I liked about the book. They drastically outweigh what I didn't like about the book, so just bear with me in this moment. So, funny enough, the way how I was introduced to Coraline was through the movie. I didn't even know it had a book in the beginning. The movie was how I first knew of its existence. And I ended up absolutely loving the movie. And I was fascinated to know after it was finished that there was actually a book and a graphic novel. And I ended up reading both many times. So like, this is not even the first time I'm reading Coraline. I've just wanted to do a video about it for the longest time. But I absolutely love this book, as I keep saying. Sorry about that. Coraline is also the first time that I was introduced to Neil Gaiman as a writer. I've actually been reading some of his other books. You know, I'll do videos on those, but I've read some of his other books. I like some of them more than others, but I am biased to Coraline. That's my absolute favorite. I love that Neil Gaiman was able to capture that spooky, eerie feeling that we get throughout the book. And it kind of just continues from start to end, and I love that. There's not a time where it seems to lapse or like you get lost. You just, even when things are fine, there's this unsettling feeling, and I like that he was able to capture that and maintain it. He also did a really good job at showing and not telling, because there's things when I was finished reading the book that I'm like, okay, so this happened. What does that mean? What does this mean for this character? You know, and he didn't really explain it. And it felt like that was okay. Like, I didn't need to have everything explained. And the reason why I said I like that is because then it leaves space for me, the reader, to use my imagination and just let that fill in the gaps of what isn't there. I also really love the characters. As a reader, I was satisfied with how the characters were developed throughout the story. I feel like everyone was given their own spotlight. Obviously, it's being told through Coraline's eyes, but because of that, we're able to see everyone from a different perspective. And I think that that was really cool to see. The cat had his own spotlight. Mr. Bobinski had his own spotlight. Miss Spink and Miss Forcible, everybody had their own platform. And in those little snippets, we were able to see parts of their lives, how they grew, how they didn't. I also really like the themes that were shown in this. The biggest one would be courage. I really like how that was played into in this book. There's a lot of reasons and situations where Coraline, she has to be brave, even when she doesn't feel like it. And I really like to see how when she's in the other mother's world, and Coraline says that she's like eating. So she's like sitting at the table and she's eating. And the other mother is on the other side of the table from her. And just imagine in that moment that she's eating and the other mother is just watching her. And Coraline says that it feels like if she's hungry too. And in that moment, you get the sense that she's hungry, yes, but not for the food that Coraline's eating. And it's just a bit unsettling because Coraline knows this and she doesn't, like spook or anything. She just keeps her head on what she's supposed to be doing and why she's there. Because if it was me, I wasn't gonna be there. I'm just saying that now. Nope. One of my favorite scenes though that illustrates courage is when Coraline was explaining the memory to the cat about when her father had to deal with courage. And it actually ended up being one of my favorite quotes from the book. So I'm gonna read that to you. The quote goes like this. And he said, "That wasn't brave of him doing that, just standing there and being stung." So maybe I should have given like a little backstory on that first. Coraline's just recounting this memory where her and her father, they go to this like landfill and he stood on a wasp nest and he stood there and allowed Coraline to run away so that he could be stung and that she, he was getting stung but she was able to get away. But then he had dropped his glasses and he had to return to that same place in order to get them. So then he said that it wasn't brave of him doing that, just standing there and being stung, said Coraline to the cat. It wasn't brave because he wasn't scared. It was the only thing he could do. But going back again to get his glasses when he knew the wasps were there, when he was really scared, that was brave. She took her first step down the dark corridor. She could smell dust and damp and mustiness. The cat paddled along beside her. "And why was that?" asked the cat, although it sounded barely interested. "Because," she said, when you're scared, but you still do it anyway, that's brave." And I thought that that was such a great quote. Because, if you apply it in day-to-day life, there are so many things to be scared of. And so many things that we have to be brave or think that we're brave for. But the only time that we're really brave is when we go and we do that thing that scares us anyway. The last thing that I really enjoyed was the beldam. she totally freaks me out. She totally freaks me out, but she is like one of the most memorable characters there. And I remember when I first saw her in the movie, I was very, very, very unsettled by her button eyes. And then when they portrayed it in the book and in the graphic novel, I promise you it's like 10 times worse. Like the uncanniness and the unsettlingness of the whole scene, it was just too much. As I said before, there's nothing really that I didn't like. And I feel like if I try to go on about what I didn't like, I'll just be nitpicking things. I really, really enjoyed this book. So there's nothing really I could say I didn't like per se. Maybe the only thing I would probably say is that I felt like some parts of the story were a little unfinished in terms of what happens then with this character, or what happens because of this, what happened to this. But I feel like even though they were unfinished, that it was okay, that we as the reader didn't need to know that. So I have to give them kudos where it's due. Some things that we can learn from the book. The first thing, as I mentioned before, is that courage isn't about being fearless. Coraline, she shows that bravery isn't the absence of fear, it's choosing to act when you're scared. And her courage feels real because she doubts herself, but she still goes for it and she faces what's ahead. The second thing was that we need to appreciate what's real. And the story reminds us that the perfect world that we imagine isn't always better than what we have. Because the story is all based on Coraline, when she finds this door and she goes into this other world, it's literally looks exactly the same as the world she's in right now, like the real world, but everything's perfect. Everything is good and how she would like things to be. But just because that it's perfect doesn't mean that it's real. Because even though that everything was exactly the same, everything still felt hollow and empty. And you know, this teaches us that we need to value genuine love in perfect families and beauty in ordinary life. And the last thing is that curiosity and independence can be powerful. Coraline's curiosity leads her into danger, but it also helps her to grow. And she learns to trust her instincts, think critically, and depend on her own strength. And those are lessons that I feel that we as the reader can really resonate with. Because I feel like as she went into this situation, yes, she was a child, but then as she came out, she's still a child, but she's a lot wiser and a lot more appreciative of the life that she has, the people she has in her life, and the experiences and the time that she's able to have. There's even, I think at the ending of this, coming on to the ending of the book, when she does get back and she has a meal, you know, that because her father and her mother, they don't make the best meals, but after experiencing, because she did have really good food in the other world, but when she comes back and is back to those gross meals that her father and her mother makes, she's appreciative of it and she eats all of it actually. So it helped her, I feel, be more wiser. So I guess my biggest takeaway with Coraline, it may seem like a children's story on the surface, but it's really a tale about courage and curiosity and finding strength in who you are. And what makes it stand out is how Neil Gaiman, he blends beauty and fear so seamlessly together, and that it reminds us that the things that scare us can help us to grow. For me, Coraline isn't just about escaping into another world and getting away from your problems, but also is about learning about the world you are in and knowing your own flaws and appreciating them. But yeah, guys, that's Coraline. I really, as I keep saying, maybe I should have a counter saying how much I really enjoy this book, but I really enjoy this book, and I would strongly suggest that you guys give it a read. If you haven't read it yet, also watch the movie. The movie was really good also. Also read the graphic novel. It's creepier than the actual movie with the pictures. But yeah, it's literally a 10 out of 10 for me. I can't think of anything that I didn't like, anything that I can say that it ranks it down a bit. Coraline is just that good for me. But let me know what you guys think. Did you like it? Did you read it? Do you have a different opinion? Did you hate it? Let me know. Put it down in the comments. And if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. And yeah, what else did I want to say? Maybe that. If you want to watch another video, just click here. If you want to watch another video, just click over here. I'll have a link to another video that you probably are going to like, to another book that you're going to like. Also, please give me book suggestions. As I said, I'm reading from the library. I'm reading from my own personal stuff also. But if you have any suggestions, let me know so that I can look for the book, I can read it, and give you guys a review. And let me know what you think about the spreads also. Do you guys like those? Do you think I should try something different? What would you like to see more of, hear more of, you know, all that good stuff. So just let me know. But thanks again for watching. I'm signing off. Bye, everyone. Da.
If you're reading this now, odds are I've already left town.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to my channel with an ink. I'm so glad that you guys. All right, as I said before, thanks so much for coming. If you hear anything in the background, I don't live alone. Great. But anyway, let's start. There was a cold, musty smell coming through the open doorway. It smelled like something very old and very slow. There's a jolt somewhere. Okay. Alright, so probably what I'll do then is that can be an intro, and then I'll have another intro, and then I'll watch both intros and they see which intro that I will use. That's what I'll do. The book Coraline follows a young girl named Coraline Jones. Who wrote this script? Okay. Did I just repeat myself? Okay, that's sorry. And this is where I don't trail off, but I did. So. Be more wiser. Be more wise. What was that? Scary. Oofy spoofy. Oofy spoofers. Bye.